Hey guys, this is Jay from The Crazy Life of Jay. Finally back today with a few more planner videos. I know it's definitely been a while, and I am back on it. My husband's out of town this weekend, so it made some perfect uninterrupted time to get some shooting done. As long as my dog doesn't start barking at something, we should all be okay. So I had put a shout out in the Planner Piece Facebook group asking if there was anything in particular anyone wanted to see, and responded with really focusing on the planner piece aspect of my planner and, any updates to my system to streamline my life in the planning process, anything that makes me easier, any previous updates that I've done that actually didn't work out for me and why, and how I, revised that and kind of, I guess, made peace with things not working instead of trying to force something to work that doesn't for me. So I figured what I do is, since it is June 1st, I'm going to go through and kind of do a setup video, and it is a little bit different from what I did earlier in the year back in January. Some things have changed, so we'll kind of take a look at that, and I'll just interweave in a bunch of rambling on what brings planner peace, what streamlines the process, and some of the things that actually haven't worked that I was really hoping would. So here we go. As always, same old Malden. I think right here this is the biggest thing that's brought me planner peace, just having this binder, knowing that this binder is a binder that works for me and I don't even have to think about it. Do I get tempted by other binders? Yes, I get that question all the time, and yeah, I do. I've been tempted by a lot of different binders, but I know that this one works for me, and I have formed just such a sentimental attachment to it, and knowing that it's helped plan my life for so long. A little bit different for this video, I actually didn't touch this from day-to-day use, so I didn't go through and really pull anything out except I think one credit card. So this is kind of what it looks like in any given state. As you can see, it's not always perfect. We'll go over, I've got stuff sticking out the back, I have stuff everywhere. So here we go. It's not always as nice as it seems to look, but inside, this is what it looks like on a day-to-day basis, and this is why it works for me. Same old stuff going over here on the left side, things that I use the most frequently, ID, all of my cards, cash goes in this pocket here, my lonely dollar bill. Coins go in this pocket here, and in addition to coins, I actually have the world's tiniest pair of scissors. It makes it fantastic for cutting washi tape, or if there's anything small that needs to be cut or trimmed, I've got it ready to go. Behind this pocket here, I still have a rewards coffee holder for a coffee store down from the street from us, and some deposit slips for my bank, as well as some of my business cards. Some if I'm out and about, I have those with me. I am using the Uni Style Fit pen now, and I'm going to do a whole video on this pen. It is absolutely amazing. It's won my heart entirely over the Coletto. So before I start rambling about this too much, it will get its own video soon. But I wanted to let you know that the pen has switched, and that's one of my keys to planner peace, is if you don't like your system, you don't like a part of your system, you don't like a tool in your system, change it. I'm very lucky that the Malden has worked for me for 3 years and it hasn't been a problem. However, other tools in my system haven't, and a pen has been a constant struggle for me. So I've really come to terms with the fact that I have used a dozen different kinds of pens over the years, whereas the binder has stayed the same. The pens and definitely the inserts have changed. So this is my current pen of choice. Currently, it's too fat, just how it's made. It holds 5 colors, but it's far too fat to fit in the pen loop. So I have just done the traditional old binder clip trick. The con of this is the pen kind of wiggles around a lot, which is kind of annoying. So I'm trying to kind of find a way to secure it down here. And the only other frustrating thing is, because the pen clip is actually a plunger for the pen, sometimes pulling it out, it gets a little stuck. But of course now it's going to cooperate perfectly just to prove me wrong. But the great thing about having the binder clip here for the pen is this also makes a fantastic spot when I'm out and about to, if I'm at the store and I just need to throw a receipt in my Filofax and go. I have business cards in here. I have quite a few receipts that I need to clean out. It's really nice because I use my planner as a wallet, and because obviously it's a huge wallet, so it does get some odd looks in the store. It's so much easier to toss my card back in, throw a receipt under here, close it, and go. So I'm not, trying to fumble back here, putting it in the proper place. So usually what happens is I'll put them here at the end of the night. Anything that's here gets pulled out. If it can be thrown away, gets thrown away. If it can't and I need to keep it, then it just gets filed in the appropriate place, whether that's in the Filofax or not, because a lot of times it won't be in the Filofax. Behind here I still have the same picture I've had for a long time. This little binder clip's just kind of hanging out. He's come in handy a couple times for bigger receipts to kind of keep them in there. So This is definitely something that's changed up a bit recently, because before this, I was always trying to use this as a receipt pocket, which you can tell already I'm kind of trying to struggle to get in. So this was kind of my receipt pocket, but again, convenience and really coming to peace with the most effective system. If I'm putting cash and cards back here and then I have to flip back here, try to pry this open to get a receipt back here, I wasn't doing it. And receipts were just falling out all over the place. So it just really wasn't worth my time. So that's where this is kind of blank right now. I'm still trying to figure out what I'm going to do with it. But on the back side, this is still where I keep all my coupons. This is one thing that I think has been part of my system since day one, and it's never changed because it is really effective. I know that if we're going out and we're thinking about, hey, where do we want to go for dinner, the first thing I do is flip through here. Hey, where do we have coupons to? Same thing with meal planning, anything like that. I did still, like I said, narrow this down. I had, I think, 3 of these in here originally, and it was just overwhelming because it was cards that I barely ever used but did the kind of just in case thing, and then realized that that was ridiculous because they would go a year without being used. So now I narrowed it down to the 6 cards I use all the time. This one is my emergency credit card, so obviously I took that out logistically, but the rest of the cards are in here and are used probably, I'd say, at least once a month. Zipper pouch, again, is still in here. In all honesty, I really don't use this all that often, but I use it just enough that it's worth keeping in here. I actually now just realized I need to restock my Band-Aids because I usually keep Band-Aids and some antibiotic ointment and, you know, hole reinforcers, paper clips. It's kind of the little mobile portable office section. Stickers, I don't use them very often, but they take up so little space that I do like to keep them in there because occasionally it is really effective to have them in there and to use them to kind of make something stand out. The capture section is something I implemented a while back now, but it has been working phenomenally. It's definitely something that I don't see leaving the system anytime soon. This has brought me a lot of peace because I am the type of person that I would get really nervous like throwing a note down on my inserts, because what if it was something stupid or silly or something that didn't need to be in there, you know, 20 years from now when my future kids find my old Filofax hoard and make fun of me. So this was kind of the mobile dashboard of all different kinds of sticky notes, all different sizes, so that if I need to jot down a quick shopping list, if I need to jot down a phone number, a quick note, something that I don't necessarily need archived, it gets jotted down here, and then if it becomes something essential and of importance, I move it. If not, it's a place where I really don't mind, you know, ripping out a Post-it and throwing it away. Very frequently it's used for phone numbers or things like that when I'm out and about. It's also used for grocery lists on the go a lot. You know, we'll be out to breakfast and start planning a grocery list for after we go shopping, so this is kind of a perfect area for that. It was most recently used this past weekend for my mother-in-law's birthday. She requested carrot cake, which was something I had never made before. So I looked up a good recipe online from the blog I Am Baker. If you've never gone there, shameless promoting. She's absolutely fantastic and her recipes are incredible. But I can't read off a computer screen while I'm cooking, so I wrote the recipe out, went to the store, got the ingredients, and technically I could rip this out right now, but until I know I can either rewrite it in a recipe book or put it straight in the recipe book, it's kind of staying put right where it is. And then the rest of this is just assorted paper, because occasionally a longer list, a packing list, an idea comes into my head that I need different types of paper for, so I just keep usually like 5 to 10 sheets has been enough, for me at least. Then we get into the meat of the planner, to my diary section. So when you open the diary section, the first thing I did was actually clipped my birthday and anniversary sheets for the current month behind the divider. I found that I'm really bad at remembering birthdays and anniversaries, so by clipping it so it straight away opens to the current 4-month spread has been really, really helpful. I don't have to think about it. It flips open, I can immediately see whose birthday is coming up, make sure I don't miss anyone, things like that. And then the rest of the months are just clipped together so they're not flying around and loose and all over the place. Year planners are another thing. When I first got my Filofax, I saw so many people with year planners that I said, oh my gosh, I'm supposed to have a year planner. I had one, I never, ever, ever used it. It was one of those things that I kept and, you know, wrote on when I remembered, and then 3 months would go by and I'm like, oops, never even used it. So then I stopped using it for probably at least a year or two, didn't use year planners at all, and now that our life has gotten a little bit crazier again, we're actually out of town 3 of the 4 weekends in June, so life has gotten crazier again, and it's really nice to be able to see that year overview. So these ones I actually just printed from Filofaxy. I keep them together. I thought these were the cutest little guys from the Container Store. But I keep them just clipped together so they're not flopping all over the place, but they're just printed from Filofaxy. I took a little washi dot, if you can see that. Of course, I don't have a zooming camera today, but if you can see that, I used a little piece of washi to write the year. So what I did is I have 2014 in the front, and it makes it really convenient to be able to, you know, jot down what our trips look like, what our schedule looks like, you know, anytime we are anywhere. Some of the pages, the only problem with this is if it's a one-day event, it's quite the challenge to fit it in the tiny box space. So what I learned to do was just create a little system that I understand, where, you know, the little black triangles are actually weddings that Brian is shooting, and then any of the little red triangles are weddings that we're shooting together. So it makes it really convenient to know at a glance, okay, I know we've got weddings this weekend. I'm actually missing one there that I have to add, and then I know we obviously have a couple together down here. So that makes it really convenient. Because 2015 is already starting to get some things booked on it, I went ahead and printed that out already. I mean, I guess it's June 1st, so it's not already, but I've had it in here for quite a while. I mean, all we have so far is one wedding that we're shooting and then Brian's cousin's wedding, but it's still good to have. I don't have to think about it. If something pops up for next year, I already know that it's good to go. I do need to figure out how I want to indicate an all-day social event, I guess, that we're not working, because I don't want to do that with the triangles since it is not a wedding that we're shooting, we're just attending. And then just for fun, I actually do have 2013 in here. Is it a waste of space? Probably, but I found that we'd be in conversations with friends or family and we'd say, oh my gosh, what were we doing on Memorial Day weekend last year? What were we doing on Labor Day last year? And we're like, oh my gosh, was this last year? And it just became that I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to print this out, throw it in there, and then it makes it really convenient. Just be like, oh yeah, that's what we did for the 4th of July, or that's where we were, you know, et cetera, et cetera. And it takes up a little tiny bit of space, but it's kind of a fun little memory thing to see how our years compare year to year. So what I'll probably do is in 2015, I'll archive 2013, keep 2014, and add 2016. And then they just all stay clipped together because I really, like I said, I don't reference them all the time. Just makes my mind at ease to have it in there, to know it's good to go. I still am using the Organized Mom monthly pages. So those are still working pretty well for me. In all honesty, when I have an entire week to view, or week on 2 pages view in my planner, I really don't use the month at a glance very often. I've been trying to use it a little bit more, again, to kind of block out where we are and what we're doing, and especially to mark bills and things like that. So this is the month of May. I need to flip it over to June, but I have some appointments on there that don't really need to be seen. So this is the May at a glance. Very small spaces, obviously things like Frankie's, flea and tick, and heartworm preventative kind of take over everything, but it seems to work all right. And then I just clip silly little things. We went on a trip to Georgia here, and an event that we attended for our wedding company. I just wanted to kind of keep the sticker for. So it's effective. Next year, I do see myself, if I continue with my own personal inserts, I do see myself moving back to kind of the month on 2 pages. This has been fine, but it is a very, very tiny space, and especially now that I am trying to use these more, it's a little bit of a struggle to fit, you know, appointments in here because it's very, very small spaces. And then things like, you know, Brian is out of town on a trip. Well, I had a bill due that day, so I stamped it across, and now, like, that drives my OCD crazy. So it's taken a while to get used to stuff like that, but that's why I think next year I'll probably bump back up to a month on 2 pages. Whether I design them myself or purchase them, I don't know, but it'll make it a lot easier for me. And now we get into my inserts that I created. I have a couple blog posts out there on this, and I'm going to do a new one with the most updated version, but this is kind of where my personal pages started. It's where they were initially kind of designed. I threw ideas down. I actually had left the pages down the side blank. It was just a very blank template just to kind of see what I liked. And again, I'm going to do a video that is more exclusively on these inserts. So I'm not going to go into too much detail now, but from this, through the several weeks, you know, leading from April on, it's turned into, I'll pull this guy out, it's turned into this. And they're constantly evolving, again, kind of keeping in mind with the planner piece, and if it works, keep it. If it doesn't, don't. You know, there have been a lot of tweaks on these over the last couple weeks to make them a system that is effective for me and more effective than what I was using with the Organized Mom inserts. I'm loving this system so far. I love that I have that linear view of my day that can't be offered any other way, so that's been incredibly helpful. And it's everything that I need, and it works because I designed it myself. Which brings me, again, definitely a lot of peace there in knowing, you know, this is normally when I'm opening my binder, I come to the top, I grab this big old tab on this Franklin Covey bookmark and flip it open. And I know right away where everything is, where it's supposed to be, what needs to be accomplished. It's all there ready to go, and it makes me not have to think about it. And not having to think about planning makes the planning better because you're focusing on the planning itself instead of, well, how do I make this plan look? So that's been really helpful. So I have those in here for, you know, the next couple of weeks. Now I do need to print more. I'm printing these myself. In the meantime, for forward planning, I do still have the Organized Mom inserts in here. I honestly right now don't know what I'm going to do with these. I do still like them. I might use them again, but I'm not sure. So what will probably end up happening is once I print enough of my inserts off, I will pull these out. But I do have them in there right now so that I can, you know, if something comes up in August, I can write it down now and then transfer it back over if I need to. But you can kind of see just at a quick glance, you know, these were just getting so messy for me, and it was very overwhelming. It wasn't easy enough to understand, and even when I switched and kind of went back to color coding, this didn't help me visualize my day, so that became a big challenge. And again, I'll talk more about that in the next video. But I do still have the whole year in here just in case. And honestly, because right now I have the room, I don't need the space for anything else, so it still works. The etc. section I'm going to kind of fly through. This is still that A to Z filing cabinet that we talked about, so I still have that. It's still effective. I'm not using it as much. I do need to get back into doing that a little bit, but I do have some things that need to be added into here, so it's just been a matter of finding the time to sit and kind of cull through, pull out what I'm not using, and add what I am. But it's still been great for, you know, books to read. You know, it's been a great idea or a great spot to get things. I have a gardening chart for Kentucky gardening. I mean, it's just been a great place to think, okay, when we need to build something for the house, we know exactly where that list goes. I don't have to think about where it is, how to find it, how to file it. It just makes it really, really easy. So that is still there and still doing really well. Me section is also still there. That is where I have kind of my Filofax registration information. And then I also have details on any medical visits I have and kind of what the outcome of those visits are, things like that. So anytime I, you know, go get my eyes checked, okay, well, I got a new prescription. Here's what it is now so that I can compare year to year. I have found that incredibly helpful when I go back to, you know, the eye doctor this year and they say, oh, well, you know, when was your last visit? What happened? It's really easy to jot it down. And then this is another thing that was gone and came back in because it's been incredibly helpful. It really all starts with the pen loop, which is a huge thing. I never used my pen loop for years and years and years. I carried a separate pen pouch, and then I started using the pen loop. And it worked great. It kind of transitioned to working after I pulled out the Franklin Covey inserts because I had enough space to fit a pen in without knocking into the dividers. Well, so I've used it for years now, and of course now my pen is too big to fit in. So the challenge was every time I closed my binder, the pen loop was empty, and without this in here and without this on here, the inserts would just smash into the pen loop and I couldn't get the binder closed. Definitely drove me crazy. So I found that two things really seemed to prevent that from happening. So the first was taking a binder clip, again, not traditional, effective. I'm all about effective. I put a binder clip on here, and I just clipped it on, pulled the back side off so that it wouldn't interfere with the strap when I closed it. Just unclipped the back side. That keeps the binder clip, you know, keeps that pen loop flat so I don't have to think about it. But before I put this back in, even still, when I'd close my pages, the dividers would get caught underneath here and flip it up, and it was just still a giant pain in the butt, and it was driving me crazy. So I remembered, hey, genius, you have the Franklin Covey flyleaf that came with an old Franklin Covey Compact 365 binder. And putting that in there, now every time, I don't know if you can kind of see it in the video, but every time I go to close it, even if it's at an extreme angle, it can't get under that binder clip. And it makes it really easy to put it in, close it, and go. And then this is just, I was at the watch store yesterday trying to get my watch fixed. They gave me information. I do this all the time. Things get thrown back here, and I grab and go. if it's effective, if you're going to use it, it's going to work. So I do stuff like that all the time with paychecks, loose papers, the whole 9 yards. Back here I have my insurance cards, and then I have my workout, which is upside down, which is going to now bother me. But I have my workout printed out and back there, so when I go to the gym I can just pull it out and go. And then this pocket is kind of still my end-all be-all catch-all of stamps, little to-do sheets. I put some washi tape on cards, so if I do need it when I'm out and about, I can just kind of grab it and add washi tape. 2 pages, which I don't use very often. My planner is much more focused on function than decorating, but for me, sometimes that function becomes decorating, if that makes any sense. So like today, call my sister on her birthday. It made a lot easier for me to say call Jade in bright purple on my page, rent due, red, it's in my face. Whereas if I had just kind of written it down here in black or something like that, it's not going to stand out as much. So I think that is about it. Like I said, I'm going to come back with another video on the inserts themselves, and then another video on the pen that I'm using. But I just realized I've been rambling for 21 minutes. So y'all said you wanted a video, and here it is. You got, you know, over 20 minutes of my rambling along. It is effective. Could it be improved? Yes. Will it be improved? Yes. Will things be changed? Absolutely. But other than that, it's working, so I'm going with it. If you have any questions, pop them in the comments below. If I missed anything, I don't know if I possibly could in 22 minutes of speaking. If I missed anything, pop that in the comments below as well. I would love to answer any other detailed questions. And I'll be back soon with videos on the inserts and the Uni Style Fit Meister pen. Talk to y'all soon. Bye.